Hi, hello friends. Welcome to B.Reborn Art and Healing. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this 10 by 10 mixed media canvas. Here I am getting ready to adhere some collage papers. These collage papers are from Shawn Petite .com. She offers a variety of collage packs that include vintage prints, flowers, ledgers, etc. They're really quite beautiful to work with. So here I'm just, I selected some colors that are fairly neutral and earthy, and I'm going ahead and applying those with the gel medium. And here you can see I've selected some other prints also from her collection. They're old vintage wallpapers. And here I'm just playing with the design about where I want my bird and my key and my clock to go. And then here I'm coming in and applying Titan Buff with my brayer, and then I'm coming in after that with Sap Green Hue, also a golden fluid acrylic. It's just beautiful. I wanted this piece to be very earthy. And then here, this is Burnt Umber Light and Naples Yellow fluid acrylic, just to add a little bit more color variation. And then I'm wiping some of that back. I didn't want it to be too bold. And here I'm applying some alcohol, which you can apply and then wipe with a paper towel or napkin, and it just creates some cool dimension and an old antique look. Here I'm applying cobalt turquoise glaze. The beauty of the glaze is that it allows you to apply it and then wipe it back. And then the color stays in the crevices where the paper is overlapping and where any other texture is on the piece. I didn't like how much I had taken off, so I went ahead and applied some more here and there to maintain that teal or cobalt teal turquoise look because my little bird head has some turquoise in it. And here I've taken Shawn Petite's stencil with the word breathe, and I stenciled that on tissue paper with black archival ink from Ranger. And here I'm just getting ready to apply it to the canvas. It's really nice because it allows you to be able to kind of experiment with where you want it, and it's not permanent on the surface if you don't like it. And then here again, just looking at my placement and deciding where I want that to end up. And that was just me showing you the stencil. Shawn Petite has some beautiful stencils that are her own design. And I also stenciled on the bubbles from her Bricks and Bubbles stencil and applying those in various places as well, just like the word breathe. They kind of melt into the background because the tissue paper becomes kind of one with the canvas. And here I'm coming in with another glaze of the cobalt turquoise. Not sure why I can't say that word today. And I'm going to go ahead and wipe that back again. I'm taking a little special care around the areas where I have applied the tissue because I don't want to tear it. But I did want a little bit more of that teal color. And this is another one of Shawn's stencils. I believe it's the Mediterranean Duo. And I'm coming in with Sap Green and applying that to the left-hand side of the canvas with a makeup sponge. And I'm going to add some of that to the bottom and then to the right side as well. I do apologize that part of my video is off. You can't see it. I'm off screen. So I will be taping off a section of my desk for future videos so that the bottom of the canvas and the project will stay in view. And here again, I'm going in on the top and putting a little bit more of that. Be really beautiful stencil. And there's just the last little bit, the last section there on the bottom. And this is a transparent brown oxide, I believe, fluid acrylic. And I'm applying that all around the canvas and then spraying it with a little bit of water to help it to flow a little bit better. I do wipe back quite a bit of it. I wasn't really necessarily looking for the dripping effect. I more than anything just really liked the golden color of that acrylic. I really liked the kind of the neutral tones here in this piece. It really lended itself well to being out in nature. And there again, applying some water to help that flow a little bit better. I do that around all sides of the piece. And while this is playing, I'm going to go ahead and talk with you just a bit about the creative team that I'm on now with Shawn Petite. We'll be posting weekly videos on the team, so I just really encourage you to come back to Shawn Petite's Facebook page and her YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see what our creative team is creating. Here I am applying some splatters, excuse me, of the brown oxide and the cobalt turquoise. And here I'm coming in with Shawn's Bricks and Bubble stencil using the brick portion of the stencil. I'm applying that with black Heavy Body Liquitex paint, which I really like because it's thick and it doesn't seep under the stencil like some of the other craft acrylics or thinner acrylics do. So there's a real advantage to that. I tend towards the Heavy Body when I'm doing that kind of work. And again, you can't see what I'm going to do here at the bottom, but I do apply a bit on the bottom of the canvas that's off screen. But in future videos, that won't be a problem. You'll be able to see everything that I'm doing. And this is the bubbles part of the Bricks and Bubbles. It's the same stencil I used with the black archival ink on the tissue paper, but this time I'm coming in with, I believe this was raw sienna Heavy Body acrylic, and I really liked the added interest that created on this piece. And when it's done, you'll see what I mean. It's just really, really quite beautiful. And here again, now that I've got a lot of my piece done, I'm going to go ahead and experiment with where I want that bird to end up. I did cut off his feet. So he's just going to be kind of sitting there on that key without any legs, but he's supposed to be just resting and breathing anyway, so maybe that is okay. It is what it is at this point. I had cut them off and I was going to reattach them, but I must have thrown them out when I was cleaning the studio. So here I'm applying those elements with matte medium, fluid matte medium, and just getting it all situated there so it'll stick well. And then here I'm going to come in with a Mediterranean Duo stencil again, but this time I'm coming in and bringing in some white. So I'm using Liquitex Heavy Body white acrylic paint. And I do end up kind of messing it up a little bit. I wiped it back with some alcohol and ended up removing more than I wanted in the lower left-hand section of the canvas. But I do go back in and add that back on. And then I wipe back, as you're going to see me do here, with a baby wipe, and pulled up some of that white paint in the areas there that you can see. And it created a really great effect, kind of a scratchy, faded look on those bits of white. They seemed a little bit too bold for me to leave just like they were. So that's what I'm doing here. And I really like the effect that it gave. Wasn't really necessarily what I was going for. I was trying to save the canvas from my alcohol that I had applied. And here I'm coming in with a burnt umber glaze and going over the whole canvas, and then I do wipe back with a baby wipe the parts of that I don't want to remain. I like how it seeped into those white places and muted that down even a little bit more and created a good contrast between the darks of the black and the green, and then the white really complements that. And here I've come in, you can't see part of it, but I've come in with a thin line permanent black pen, and I'm just doing a scratchy frame around that word breathe. I wanted it to stand out a little bit more than it was, and I really like the effect that it had. I do some double lines and some scratchy places. So, and then at the very end, I do also apply some charcoal to those lines to deepen it even more than it is by the pen. So that's what you see me kind of doing here. I do know that it is off screen, but I appreciate your patience. It's a learning curve to create a video, and then you need to kind of shrink it down to a shorter time. So there's speeding up of sections of it, and then you need to do a voiceover, which is what I'm doing now. And it's a science, I think, but I will improve over time as I do it again and again. So, and this canvas I created out of kind of a tight place that I've been in the last couple weeks. I've been in an intensive training to become a home health care aide, and it just zapped me. The days were really long, lots of information to retain, and I wasn't doing anything really to take care of myself during that time. I was just really doing my OCD thing. So that's why this bird is just sitting there, and he's breathing and reminding me to breathe through the rest of this process. So it was a very therapeutic piece for me to do. And what I just showed you there is some chalk, black pastel chalk, and I'm applying that to the edges and then rubbing it out to create kind of a dark frame around the piece. Which I really like. I was using charcoal pencils, but found that my pencils are just getting chewed up by the texture that is often on my piece. So I went ahead and purchased these sticks, and they'll go a lot farther and a little bit easier to apply. I do go in here after this is done and apply some more around the clock and the bird and the key, just with the charcoal pencil. Kind of getting in those crevices. It helps the elements to pop off the page and look like they're not just a part of the background. So it's pretty nice. And when you use the charcoal or the chalk or pastel, excuse me, the black pastel here, it does tint the things around it. So the clock does get a little bit dirty looking, but it just lends to the kind of the antique look that I was going for here anyway. This was a great piece to do. It took me about an hour and a half, and I'm practicing getting the videos down to about 15 minutes or less. So that's kind of my goal. And again, that's quite challenging. And I'm experimenting with the best ways to do that and the best ways to edit and all of those things. It's definitely a learning curve for me. But a really fun stretching process, and looking forward to the coming year and creating with 7 other amazing women, well, Shawn included. So if you want to ever check her out, she is at ShawnPetite.com, and then Shawn Petite also on YouTube. And her art is incredibly inspirational, very gifted artist with a very good message with the pieces that she creates. And here I'm just coming in along some of those lines where the paper, back up here. This is what I was referring to earlier. I went in with charcoal pencil and just highlighted those sketchy pen lines to make them pop out a little bit more. And then I come back in with the charcoal pencil along some of the paper lines where the paper overlaps, and just kind of accentuating those transitions. So it was really good. Turned out great. So I do hope that you will follow us on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. The team, it's going to be a great year. It's a team full of incredible talent and a love for sharing the beauty of art creation. So that is about it. Hope to see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.